Hey everybody, this is Chad Daniels, and you have landed in the middle of somewhere. Hello, how are you? Thank you so much for coming back. I wore this hoodie yesterday. The only difference is now there is meat on it because I flossed and was trying to look at the meat, and then I pulled the floss super tight, and it shot all over my hoodie and into my eyeball. Across from me, as always, is Cyrus Amundson.
If you were ranking the worst opens to this show we've had, is that number one? What just
Nope.
happened?
Oh,
You describing?
God, no.
Why is the visual of that affecting me so harshly?
It was brutal because I was trying to look at the...
We don't need to go deeper on it.
Yeah, okay.
Let me ask you a question.
Eyeball.
So before we started this show, you mentioned that one of our friends once mentioned that you kind of breathe heavily.
Mike Cronin said, "What, are you having a heart attack or coming? Because you're breathing into the mic so hard." And it's like, well, first of all, I don't know. Maybe that particular episode I was all over the mic. But I try to, when I'm not talking, I tilt the mic to the side.
I've noticed that. And this is what my question was. The amount of compliments it would take for you to believe even the smallest thing. Mm-hmm. Like, you could have a joke that smashes on stage, and it would take a lot of compliments for you to be like, uh-huh. But one person, one time, we've done, what are we on, year 6 or 7 of this podcast?
Like it.
And one guy, one time, who, by the way, we shit talk on this show at an outrageous rate,
right, said
one funny, mean thing about you, and you're like just bringing it up before random episodes. It's such an interesting psychology. You're like the athlete who's the best, like just won the Super Bowl, had the MVP trophy, but you're clearly the best athlete in the league. And then he goes, nobody believed in me. You've got a nobody believed in me vibe.
I don't have a nobody believes in me.
Well, it's a similar chip.
I have a I don't believe anyone vibe.
Yes, but I think those are related.
Well, no, because I don't think it's that I feel like no one believes in me. I feel like several people believe in me, and I feel like I just... Listen, here's what I think.
Oh, God, I didn't think it was going to turn into this.
Yeah, well, guess what?
I'm so sorry, Cody. I didn't know this is where we were going.
That people are born good. And so they will tell you, they will compliment you, they will give you good things, they will try. No, stop. They will try to build you up.
You don't think anyone's born bad?
But when someone goes out of their way to go, Jesus, you breathe into the microphone heavily, you go, well, that is something. Because that probably took a lot of courage. It doesn't take any courage to compliment somebody. You're going to go, hey, I like your hair. And they're going to go, oh my God, thank you. And everyone's going to feel good. That doesn't take courage. You probably don't even like their hair. You just need the thank you when you're holding the door.
How did you turn this into you having courage? How did we get to you? And it's not just this. One time, a long time ago, Joel gave us some notes on the show.
Courage.
Joel, and one of the things he said was, Chad should stop saying he's kidding. Every once in a while, you say something really mean and really funny, and then you say, I'm just kidding.
Oh, just so you know, Kelsey has just pushed pause on this episode and is dancing around the kitchen island gleefully because she's like, there, someone else has said it. Stop saying just kidding. Well, fine. I'm going to say the mean shit, and then I'm not going to say just kidding, and then we'll see how everybody likes it.
Here's the thing. I think I'm going to like that, and I think Joel's going to like that. I will, once Kelsey unpauses the episode, I will let her know. I don't know that she's going to love that.
She's not going to love it. She wants everything to be exactly how it is. There's no mystery. There's no misdirection. And listen, we had an argument about this on our other podcast. We don't have to talk about it.
We don't have to talk about it. Let's talk about last night. So we've now had a show here in Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah, in between Fort Lauderdale and Miami.
Dania Beach.
Yeah.
So, and last night, so you don't drink anymore.
Correct.
And so your life has been...
Ask me how that's going.
How's that going?
I think it's really healthy for me, and I fucking hate it.
And why do you hate it?
And it's not like I have the shakes. It's not like I've ever been one of these people that even after a bender goes, oh God, I just need a drink to calm. Nothing like that. It's just, I don't know. I just feel like my life's gotten so boring.
Yes. You have lost a major,
I've lost that love and feeling.
Because back in the day when you'd go on the road, it was party, party, party. And then as you've become an elder statesman, it became...
Yeah.
It became calm, calm, one party calm.
Yep, I would party one night.
And now, because you're not drinking, the party's gone.
The party's gone. There's a lot of young staff members at comedy clubs that are like, that's the guy?
Yeah.
Because
the Chad Daniels lore, and you're going to hate this.
there are stories.
If you are, when you come up and you go to any club, as I did, so like you started, I don't know, like 20, 30 years before me.
Yeah, actually 40.
And so when I started going on the road to clubs, and they'd be like, "Oh, where are you from?" And I'd tell the staff I'm from Minneapolis. Acme is my home club. All of them would go, "Are you ready for 8 Chad Daniels stories?" And then I'd have to sit there, and they would tell me. They were very fun and very funny, but the lore of you at every comedy club in America is quite large,
And it's tough. Everybody knows this from.
It gets passed down from staff to staff
Right,
to staff
right.
to staff.
Yeah.
You're the Gallagher guy, and now you're like, "Yep, going home to bed."
Yeah.
So
You're the Michigan, Ohio State guy? And I'm like, yeah, I can't even walk by World of Beer. I have to go the other way because then I want to stop and have one.
yeah. So now the party has died.
Yeah.
It's died inside you. But last night after
flame
the
is-
show,
yeah.
we tried to do something because we had an early show,
Yep.
and so we decided we were going to get some food.
Yeah.
And we went to a steakhouse that was named your last name, Daniels.
Uh-huh.
And
before that, there was another person doing a late show,
Mm-hmm.
John Radinsky, SNL.
yes.
And he came in and said, "Nice to meet you."
Mm-hmm.
And it took everything I had within me to not say, "Interesting you say that. John, you must have forgotten that I beat you in the semifinals of the ping pong tournament at Moon Tower Comedy Festival."
Does this take courage?
I'm sorry that you've had to put that out of your head and pretend it never happened, but it did.
That was very courageous of you. So
Thank you.
Radinsky comes in to do his late show, and I have found a steakhouse, and we are going to it.
Yeah.
So we take BT Cody. Mm-hmm. We take his friend Whitney. And we go to this place. And I'd love you to, because we are dressed not far off from what we are dressed right now.
Right.
And I want you to tell me.
I'm actually dressed exactly how I've worn this outfit for 4 fucking days.
And the shirt has an aromatic vibe.
I've worn
to
it on 2 different planes with a jacket on.
Yeah, that
and the
sucks.
olds like to keep the planes hot. And so I've been...
Do you think they're in charge of that?
I guarantee they're in charge of that. I mean, ultimately the flight attendants are in charge of it, but the flight attendants go, "Hey, hello, Mima. What can I do for you?" And they're
It'd be nice for me.
I would like it to fly closer to the sun. fuck Icarus and his wax wings. I don't care. That's a stupid story. Anyways, Jesus is real. So I got to tell you something. Speaking of shirts, I saw the greatest shirt in Ann Arbor, which, by the way, I played the Treetown Comedy Festival at the Blind Pig. Fantastic. Super funny openers. Then you have the fact that Nirvana played the Blind Pig, and Kurt Cobain said he loved it so much. So now I'm jacked up. Yep. I'm jacked up to the point where there are 2 big palm plants on the stage, and every time I say something so dumb, I go high five the plants. I'm fucking
Just like Nirvana, right?
I'm just like Nirvana would have. There's no way they would have rolled their eyes at that. It is funny when you have a favorite band and you go, "Oh, if they saw me do comedy, they'd walk out.
Hate me. They'd hate
walk
me.
out.
Yeah.
So this guy has a shirt on. It's got a pineapple. And the pineapple is a bunch of different names going down. So the names form the pineapple, right? So the middle of the pineapple, longer names. I look at it, and these names are all of the nicknames that Gus was given on the show Psych.
Yeah.
However, this guy has put a piece of tape over one of the names and filled it in himself, Fritz Nothnagel. He goes, "There's no way Fritz Nothnagle's a real name. You say that on the podcast sometime." And I go, "It is his real name. That's a real guy. He's one of my best friends." And so I laughed so fucking hard at that because I'm looking and I go, "Fritz Noth, what is this about?" And then I see some of the other names and I go, "Oh shit, that's so funny."
It's you do have a pineapple psych shirt that is made up of words. It's not names, but somebody gave it to you for Christmas. I've never seen you wear it, and
I wear it all the time. To the gym, doesn't fit me.
I just don't believe that.
Makes my arms pop.
Not a single picture. I haven't gotten a single picture. Like, I love this.
Oh, I can't wait until I send you the picture that just popped into my head. I like to peel these oranges.
Yeah.
Right. What are they called?
The clementines.
I like to peel clementines, and I peeled them all. I felt challenged by the movie Sleepless in Seattle when I was younger. Mm-hmm. And his big thing was Tom Hanks would call into this Meg Ryan show, and he'd go, "I miss my wife. She died." One of the things I remember about her, she peeled an orange in one peel. There weren't a bunch of peels. She peeled the whole thing off in one. And so I do that too. But I peel a strip around the middle, and then I peel the Princess Leia buns off the side, and then it looks like a dick and balls. And so then I put it over where my dick and balls are, and then I like move my hips, and so it flaps a little bit. And you are right. You can see the pool from here. Mm-hmm. So then I went and mushed it up against the glass for the pool people and started doing that. And I don't know, I'm a child. But anyways, get ready for your picture with the pineapple shirt. Can't wait.
I don't know what those two things had to do. So we go to Daniel's.
Yeah.
We go to Daniel's. Yeah. And we show up like this at a place that we knew by looking at it online that it was going to be upscale food.
Yeah.
But why don't you describe the vibe inside as we entered?
Okay. Collared shirts, sweaters over the collared shirts. The collared shirts are folded at the wrist so you can see the expensive watches, fake lips, fake tits, small dresses, fancy shoes.
Not a real tit in the building except our group.
Don't you dare. Yeah.
So, and it is, and I would say it was that certain, and it's 10 o'clock at night, 10:15 at night, right? And the place is packed. And I would say, let's say this up top. Unbelievable.
The food?
Yes.
Incredible.
Some of the best food I think I've ever had in my life.
Incredible. I ate the piece of steak that landed on my shirt this morning because it was so good. Should I have flossed last night before bed with a piece of steak in my fucking teeth? Yes, but I didn't. I fell asleep. Now, I'm also going to tell you, they saw us walk in, how we were dressed. I will say, Cody dressed fine.
Cody's dressed fine.
And
Whitney dressed fine. You and I.
We looked like trouble. We looked like we couldn't afford the food.
Yep.
And at one point, they put us at a table which was right next to the bar stools. And at one point, our server moved a bar stool like in between us and the door as if we were going to dine and dash. He wanted to create a little slowdown for us, a little roadblock.
Yeah, it was I haven't had a menu explained to me in a way. I felt like the way guys who speak Spanish but can speak English feel when a white lady doesn't realize they can speak English.
Yeah, he at one point said, and he like leaned down with his hands on his knees, and he's like, and then we have Brussels sprouts. Those are sprouts from Brussels. And we're like, okay, all right, dude, that's enough.
So, but he did the wildest thing. So we ordered a lot of food.
Yeah, we each ordered an entree, and then he told us about something that was off the menu.
And very much explained to us off the menu as though we'd have been like, wait a second. If it's off the menu, how do you get it? Like,
are you ordering this from another restaurant or something?
What do you mean off the menu? Are you going to put it on the menu before we order it?
Are you going to just give it to us, and if we like it, you're going to put it on the menu or something?
Yeah, are we food testers for your off the menu stuff?
I don't like this at all. We got a guy with diabetes in here.
Why are all the tits so huge in this restaurant?
You know what? I saw a lady drop her fork on her tit, and it stuck in there. And did not move.
Dude, everybody in there was what I like to, because there's this like, and I'm into it. I'm just going to tell you right now, I'm into it.
Into what?
What I'm about to tell you.
Okay.
There's an age where people look, I think the word is severe. Where like the transition, I think if you're really beautiful and you decide to go the Botox route, man or woman, eventually you're going to look like a cat. Because everything's going to suck around the filler. You're like we talked about this. You're going to fade back, and then you're going to look wild. But
If you want to do Botox, if you're listening and you want to do Botox, start before you need it.
Yeah.
That's where you get ahead of it, i.e. Kristen Bell.
Well, here's the thing. I still don't think it matters. I
don't know if she has Botox.
I think eventually, no, start that rumor. I think eventually you're just like, you become old and the filler's like, we're still here. I'm still up here where you put me. And so everything's drooping, but everything else does that. And so...
Olivia does great Botox face.
Does she?
Yeah.
So we'll put a picture of that in the podcast?
Anytime she starts to say something serious, she goes, hold on. One of her eyes flutters because the Botox got too far down.
So we're like, but there's that period in between, like when you were young and these people were really beautiful, and when they turn into cats, and it's like you can tell the Botox is there, but it kind of works, and it hasn't gone over the hill of like, it stopped working, it's too much, and that's like it's very sharp. It's like, shoom, pow, thump, blah. Like it's and that is a look that it's a bummer. I like it.
I'm getting Botox March 13th.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
That's pretty soon.
Yeah.
And so, wait, what? I can't tell if you're joking because you're into so many weird health things right now, which is a weird sentence for me to say to you.
Not drinking isn't weird.
I'm not talking about that. I don't want to get into all the like witch doctors that you're going to, because I think that's going to unravel the show, because I've gone to a lot of witch doctors and you had a very specific opinion about it. Let's keep it on track. So there's all these severe women and men in here looking at us like, well, I don't think they can pay. And our server, one of the things we ordered, when we also ordered like we didn't, and this isn't to brag, I think it's probably just half truth. I think we ordered like we didn't understand the prices.
Well, you can't go into one of those places looking at the prices, because then you back off what you want.
What you want, yeah.
And you're there to get what you want, right? So, and I understand there are circumstances where, of course, you cannot do that. Mm-hmm. But you look at the most expensive thing and you go, all right, I know what the most expensive thing is. Mm-hmm. Everything else is below it. So now I'm going to order what I want, and it's not that.
Smart. That's a smart play.
Nobody needs an Australian tomahawk steak.
So
nobody does.
So he tells us what's off the menu, and what's off the menu.
It is a linguine in red sauce that is mixed with the entire meat of the lobster. They clean out the lobster and they mix it, and then they put everything back into the lobster. They stuff it back into the lobster, which leads me to believe there's no way this is all the lobster meat, because why is there room for the fucking linguine? Liar!
It's a pasta taxidermied lobster that you can eat.
Yeah.
And so now I can't have any of it, because there's some stuff in there that I can't have. So I sat back and watched what happened next.
Yeah.
Which is so we got that as the like, we'll take a pasta stuffed lobster for the table. So all these severe people with their tits and watches who were judging us, even if we were going to dine and dash, at least for a minute, we went, oh, we're going to do the off the menu for the table.
Yeah.
So we off the menu for the table.
It felt good, felt nice.
And this guy brings it out. He explained it to us like we'd never heard of what a lobster is. And then he brings it out and he sets it down and it looks good. And then I just haven't eaten in a lot of nice restaurants. So maybe this happens all the time.
He says, let me help. That's what he says. Let me help. And you go, all right, this guy's going to like crack open the lobster.
Yes. The lobster re-adhered when they put the linguine on. Crack that bitch open for us. Thank you, monsieur.
Yeah. And then he ends up grabbing a spoon, scraping all the linguine and all of the lobster out onto the plate that it's also on. Then he moves the lobster sideways to give it space.
And you're like, oh, great. So he like scooped none of us now have to be the lobster scooper. That's super nice of you.
Right. Then he starts to cut the lobster chunks in half, which I'm going to tell you something, disagree. Put a big fucking fat lobster chunk on my plate. Just so I can see it, so I can go, God, if this was gold, it'd be worth so much. But
to be clear, he is leaning across over. He is in the center of our table doing this.
Right. And he starts giving some to Whitney, and he starts giving some to Cody, and he gives some to me. And you can tell he's a sibling. You can tell he grew up with siblings because it is very fair portions. Everybody's getting the exact
here.
amount.
I don't have as much there. Let me put a little here.
Sorry, I saw you didn't get a roasted red pepper flake.
Yeah.
And so we get all this stuff. And he does then he starts spinning the linguine on a spoon and weighing and measuring it and giving us that. This guy did everything except chew the food for us and spit it into our mouths.
I almost leaned in and went,
Yeah. I say, baby bird me, Alicia.
Chew it up, waiter. Are you our servant or not?
Yeah.
Chew it up and spit it into my throat. I'm here with the severes to eat well. I don't it made me so uncomfortable. And I think you said something last night. I think you're probably right, but that was not for me.
Can I say what I said?
Yeah, sure.
Does it bother you? Here's what I think happens.
I don't remember exactly what you said.
I'll tell you.
We'll see if it bothers me.
People become so wealthy that they love to go to a place. Because we watched this man do this around the restaurant. He scooped dessert out of a little fucking ramekin for people.
It's like, you use a spoon to get it out. You're like, we know how spoons work, man.
Yeah. So you come to a point where you go, these people are so rich and are so upset that they were born after slavery was legal that they go to these restaurants and they have another man scoop food for them. It's wild.
It is, it's not for me. I certainly don't care for it.
It makes me uncomfortable.
And I think there's I don't want someone. That was probably one of my least favorite things I've been a part of, he wasn't scooping it onto my plate, you know.
But you were still guilty because you were there.
But you look around him doing it at the other thing when he was scooping the tiny dessert out of the ramekin, and other people are like, yes, scoop it, boy,
Yeah,
scoop it.
It was that kind of shit makes me uncomfortable. We were talking about a golf trip I'm about to go on, and my friend has told me what to expect. It's a very, very nice course. I don't belong there.
Yes.
And on the range, there are caddies that take your clubs out of your bag, hand it to you, and then clean the club you just used. And I'm not gonna be able to do that.
Yeah.
Because my arms work. I know where my clubs go. I just cannot have other people doing that shit for me. It weirds me out for some reason.
What do you think? Because I think you get to a level so a lot of life is for the normals,
right?
Right?
Yeah.
A lot of life is ascending barriers and challenges. You don't if you are not born with a trust fund, you have to achieve, or you'd like to try to achieve occupation. And therefore, you try to achieve education or a trade. It's life is and then you're trying to gain enough money to feed your family, and then you're trying to gain enough money to go on. Both in the micro and macro. I want to have a nice dinner every once in a while. I want to go on a vacation. I also want to retire. Your whole life is this trudge up a hill towards goals. And then you have people who are more well off, and that's easier for them. You know, the people that make $1 million a year, 500,000, even 200,000, money that I can't imagine, right? And they have an easier path, but they're still kind of doing that. They're still making. And then you have the people who his grandpa invented. By the way, you remember JPG, one-time producer, Joe, on this show? Yeah. Joe was telling me that one of the kids he went to school with, and I don't even know what this means, but his grandpa is the guy who invented the Cheeto dust. Before Cheetos were just crunchy, the stuff on your fingers, that's that guy.
Yeah.
And he's just super rich from being the Cheeto dust guy.
When I used to fly, and maybe I've said this before, but when I used to fly and get upgraded to first class, people would ask me what I did for a living, and I would always tell them that my great-grandfather invented the zipper. I'd say I'm independently wealthy. My great-grandfather invented the zipper.
There was one of the kids that went to school with my nephew Seth out in where they live in Minnesota, that wealthy community. His dad was the guy who came up with the idea to put coupons on the back of receipts at grocery stores.
Whoa.
Yeah. So, but
damn.
I wonder if you don't have any of that trudge, any of that uphill, I've got to gain, I've got to accomplish, like, what does that, from the moment you're born, what does that do to your brain?
Oh, yeah.
And then, like, how do you, because you have to think part of that is some version of natural to humans where you're living in a cave. You have to, every day, you have to do something to move yourself and your people forward. And if you're just born into $1 billion,
Yeah.
you kind of don't. And so where does that, it's like, if you don't have children, right? And I think that's amazing if you don't have children. I don't have any issue with that. But like, are we as humans, even though you don't want kids and you don't like that, is there a part of us naturally that is prone to parent, if you will, or guide or grow? And then where does that get placed? So if you're like one of these like billionaire kids, where does it get placed?
Yeah, because if you're raised by a nanny or other people, and by the way, I think nannies do a fantastic job, teach you invaluable skills.
Yeah.
But maybe they're doing things for you and not making you do the things. Or maybe the parents are like, why is he doing this?
Yeah.
That's what we pay you for. Yeah. Or they go to these restaurants and they see that happening and they go, this is what life is. I mean, when I was younger, I felt like for part of my life, I was only born to change the channel for my parents. So it's like, I don't need somebody wiping my fucking golf club off.
Yeah.
I started as the guy who, when the channel thing broke, I had to use a pliers and turn the fucking little tiny metal knob with the pliers. And they'd go, back one, let's see what that was. And I'd have to do it. And they'd go, you're in the way, back one. And one time I had wet socks on and got kind of electrocuted and I couldn't feel my elbow. And I was standing there just like, guys, my elbow. And they're like, move, we can't see. And I'm like, okay, I guess. So I'm not going to let someone, fucking 7-iron. I'm not going to yell that at somebody. Are you fucking kidding me? That's crazy.
Yeah, it probably just I mean, I'm sure you can survive it, but that's probably a pretty hard thing to survive, being born into that much money and not becoming that. Or like somebody once told me, like, some people get so rich, the only thing that's left for them to do is to try to have sex with people they shouldn't. And
oh my God.
I mean, I think that's probably a bummer truth,
Do you think that they shouldn't have sex with me, and how much would they give me?
I think a good mid-rich would be nice, right? Like, you got enough money to never think about it, but not so much money that it causes that. I always think of like the guy dude, I think the best company owner in America is the Arizona iced tea guy.
Oh yeah, the guy that won't raise the prices.
He's like, what am I doing? I've got enough money. All my employees make a good wage. I'm not making it more than 99 cents. It's a fucking metal can of average tea. Yeah. This is a good system, man. We've done it. I think you want to be like, I don't know what I would do with like fucking $1 billion, but like the level, here's a good level of mid-rich. This sucks to call someone out. I won't give their name, but my sister lives in a really nice neighborhood, and one of her neighbors, awesome dude, super, and he's like blue collar rich. Built a blue collar business, dominated the whole area, made a really good life for himself. And then he's into cars. And we were over there one day and they were like showing the cars. And then somebody tells me like, yeah, that's the car from the My Sharona music video.
I got a buddy I went to school with named Dave who started a plumbing company. And, you go, oh, plumbers, you have an idea, you have butt crack. As soon as you hear plumber, you hear butt crack. But with this guy, here's the kind of conversations he has. He goes, hey, Dave, where were you? And he's, oh, I was at the lake cabin. And then his friend will go, oh, which one? I mean, it's that kind of...
Yeah, he built a plumbing empire.
Yeah, there's no shit about that.
Yeah, My Sharona's an interesting choice. You're like the guy who's like, yeah, I love it. My Sharona was like, you want the car? There's so many, but maybe the My Sharona car isn't as expensive as the Batmobile, obviously. I don't know how you land on the My Sharona car. There's so many famous cars.
Sorry if I'm going a little blank here. Here's what's happening. When I was in between junior and senior year of high school, so I got in trouble for putting salt water in pop machines.
Yes,
I got arrested.
remember.
I know.
Yep.
And so then I was asked to go help canvass for a Bible camp in Southern California, in Rancho Cucamonga.
Is that the origin story for why we have to listen to you be anti-religion on every show?
Nope. And then,
Is this where you tell me you got molested?
no.
Okay, I'm just asking.
But anyways, we go to where the California Angels at the time are playing baseball. And it is not a baseball game, which I thought it was going to be.
Sure.
It is the Praise Band. Do you know them? Our God is an awesome God, he reigns. It's that song. And they're starting a chant in this stadium. We love Jesus. Yes, we do. We love Jesus. How about you? And then the other half is giving it back.
Like we
nicely.
don't?
Nicely, though. Nicely.
How do you give it back nicely?
They just repeat it.
Oh.
Same thing.
Oh.
But just a lot of it, like, we love Jesus. And then all of a sudden, we love him more. Or, whatever.
Oh,
it
so this is
whatever that
this is
chant
competition
It's
loving.
it's a sports
I thought you were going to be
chant.
like, they go, we love him, and we'd be like, we don't.
It was more like, not as much as we do.
Okay.
And so on our way back, we're all in this van, and My Sharona comes on, and we're all singing it. And then all of a sudden, the song goes off, and the pastor that's leading this whole thing goes, do any of you realize that this is a story about vaginas? And I'm in the back seat like, oh, I didn't, but I'm so glad I did. So now I'm singing My Sharona the rest of the trip. But anytime I hear that, I just go back to that time in the van. So I apologize if I phased out.
Well, I just didn't know that you and Janine's neighbor grew up together on a religious trip.
Yeah, we sure did.
That's the only way. He's like, you're not going to believe this. I was on this trip, found out that was a Pussy Car song.
Yeah, that's exactly
Grew
right.
up, bought the damn thing. I don't know what I would... I understand it. Like, I could for sure buy the Jamaican bobsled. For sure.
Yeah.
And I like, as a rich guy, you just be like, you guys want to go in the basement and play ping pong? You guys get down there, you're like, oh, you'll have to walk around. That's the actual sled.
It's actually, you don't even walk downstairs. You take the bobsled down there.
It's funny, people like, I've mentioned Cool Runnings a lot on this show. I obviously really like it. I don't like, and I know I think it's a good, Disney movies are good movies. They're well written. They're really good. You are, quit fucking hanging your mic to the side like you're actually breathing too hard in it.
I'm just
You're not
listening
doing, you're not that fat. You're not breathing that heavy.
Hey,
Mike, look,
what
Mike,
happened?
look what you've done. He's probably proud of himself. He's got
guarantee
this real chip on his shoulder. Like we're hurting his career because all we do is talk bad about him to our audience. I don't think that's right, Mike. I don't think it's right. I think you're hurting your career with your material. But I think what Cool Runnings for me represents is like a really wonderful nostalgia. I think I've said this before. It was it was a time in childhood where like we went up, we watched it with my sister and her husband and their youngest son Seth, who I'm really close with, and my siblings. It was just like represented this really amazing. It's kind of like an anti-molestation moment. That's what it is.
Interesting.
Where you get molested by a clown and now you're scared of clowns, right?
Or really, you can only come if you see a clown.
Or you become a clown who molests other kids. Like, yeah. Like, I think it's the opposite of that, where like I just attach myself so much to this movie because of a wonderful moment. Sure. So yeah, I would buy the Jamaican bobsled.
Yeah, I think for cars, it would have to be, I mean, the My Sharona car is interesting, but if you're going to go music video, you could do the one from Whitesnake video that Tawny Katan, whatever.
Yeah, you're so
whatever.
much older than me.
Okay, let me try this one. Back to the Future.
Yeah,
Of
I mean,
course you'd wanna buy
I
that.
think everybody wants the Back to the Future car. Yeah, I actually want the Back to the Future train. I want the train from the third one.
God damn it. Okay, so I can't believe I'm saying this to you.
Mm-hmm.
It actually hurts my soul a little bit, but I need some help.
From me?
I think so.
Oh, yes! The time has come.
Yep.
You've been out here searching, going to therapist after therapist, and finally, you're going to let me weigh in on
it's
stuff?
not working because now I'm starting to question everything, and I don't like that.
Yeah.
Because, it's like you hear about people that get shot, and you see the footage, and you go, well, there's 20 seconds. Why didn't they run? I feel like that's what I've become. I've become the guy that sits there and go, now, what should I do in this situation? My therapist says this. I would react like this. I'm having this whole conversation.
You're the frog. You're the frog that the water's heating up around.
Yeah,
you.
and I'm like, my girlfriend's not here, so this won't make. She won't care about this, and all this stuff, all these questions.
I'm so happy to be. Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
I'm so happy you involved me. I have to warn you. I don't think anybody else is going to be happy you involved me.
Well, that's okay. So this is when I came to this conclusion. I was on, of course, an airplane, and I'm sitting in. Lucky enough to sit in first class. I fly a lot, and so.
Could we get? Could somebody Faka Bear? Could you just cut together every time he says that? I think it'd be an 11-minute video.
So this.
Could I have a question? Are you rich enough to sit in first class, or is there another reason?
So there is a guy who has on a sport coat, right? And he has already put a carry-on suitcase, a backpack, and a leather man satchel up above.
Okay.
Okay. And then he goes,
Sounds like a guy who'd love to be fed lobster linguine.
yeah, no shit. So now there's no room for a couple people. So the person sitting next to him has to put their suitcase in the closet up front by the bathroom, right? And so because of that, the hangers have to be taken out because it's a small closet. It's only made for something that tall or coats.
Okay.
And so this guy goes, hey, I'd like to have you hang my coat in the closet. And she goes, unfortunately, there's no room in the closet. Could I put it up here? And he goes, no, I don't want it folded. And now...
This is the guy with 3 things up top.
I have my suitcase up above. I have my jacket on my lap. And I have my backpack between my feet. Does it make me a hero? No, it makes me a rule follower. And so this guy, he keeps going like, where am I going to put my jacket? Where is this jacket going to go? I don't want it to be wrinkled. And so I go, why don't you take some of your stuff down that can't wrinkle and put it under your seat, and then that person will be able to put their luggage up there, and you can put your, like I'm doing basically fucking plane Tetris. And he goes, there should be room for my jacket. And I go, there would be if you wouldn't have 3 things up above the thing. And he goes, no. When you buy a first class ticket, and I just go, are you fucking kidding me? As daddish as I can. And now it gets intense. Now the flight attendant comes back and is in between the two of us. And I'm just like, okay. I look at the flight attendant, I go, I'm done. Sorry about that. Sometimes I think I'm helping, and I'm not. And I sit there and I be quiet. Then across from me is an open seat. And this guy, again, no room up above. So he has to bring his suitcase back about 4 rows to find a place. Ooh. He puts his backpack on his seat and he goes, I'm sitting here, to the lady behind him. He goes back to put his luggage up. She follows him. And then he goes, oh, I got to get back there. And she rolls her eyes. And now I'm already mad. And so I go, what are you doing? Why are you rolling your eyes? Pay attention. He told you he was sitting in this seat. Where do you think he's going to go? All the way back to the back of the plane so you can get to your seat and then he can come up here finally? Like when you have a fox, a chicken, and a bag of grain on one side of a river. And yet, like, I'm fucking losing my mind. I'm losing my mind. And she goes, wow. And I go, not wow. Be nice and pay attention. If those 2 things happen for everybody, the world would be so much better. And so now I'm like, all right. So I'm sitting in my chair. I have this whole flight to fucking stew, right? And I go, I need to stop that. It's everyone is kind of uncomfortable. And God, I start laughing. Like if Kelsey would be there, Maybe I wouldn't have acted like that, but also if I would have, that would not have been great for everybody. And so I think, you know what? I'm just going to cool it. I'm going to take some time and I'm not going to say anything. And this is how I do everything, right? Mm-hmm. Well, I'm not going to eat sugar this week. Well, 3 days into that, I'm fucking housing a gallon of ice cream.
Yep.
And so yesterday in the Detroit airport, I'm at Starbucks and I go...
Yeah, you are a big cold turkey relapse guy.
Well, there's no question. It is like, if I say I'm done doing something, it may as well be a picture of an athlete stretching before he sprints back onto the field. Because that's exactly how I do things. And so I'm sitting there and I'm in this Starbucks, no shit, for 20 minutes after I ordered. And now I see people, and the employees, they go, "We're understaffed. We're so sorry." Mm-hmm. And so I go, "All right, understaffed, whatever." But now I see people that just came through line that are getting their drinks. And I have ordered a cold brew, which is the second easiest thing to make at Starbucks, right behind black coffee. All you have to do is add ice and fucking flick a little like iced tea thingy, and it comes out of and it's done.
It's done.
I don't need anything else. And so I go up to the thing and I go, "Hey, no big deal. Just wondering if my ticket got dropped or something." And they go, "It didn't get dropped. Okay. We're behind." And I go, "Well, but people that got here 10 minutes after me are getting their drinks. And so I'm just wondering what that would be." And then I go back and I'm like, "I'm not going to say anything. There's no chance." Now, my question is to you before I tell you the end of this story.
Okay.
How long?
A lot to unpack here.
How long do you wait to say something that is going to light a fire under the asses of these employees? Or do you never? Do you sit there and wait and eventually you'll get your thing? How long do you wait in that situation to approach the counter, to mention that you don't have your drink? I want to know what you would do in this situation.
I mean, I wouldn't walk away from that interaction where you were like, and then I'm going to go back and I'm going to go, okay, I'm staying there. Okay. And I'm not going to go, "Hey, dipshit." But I'm going to go, "I have a cold brew. I've watched this. Like, I'm not going up there. I'm not going up there unprepared. I'm going up there ready to litigate. Okay. I'm going up there going.
So your first trip is the trip to end all trips.
And here's the thing. I'm going to be somewhat nice about it.
Okay. Now, Cody's also nodding over there.
Yeah. I just don't like, well, it's because he just watched me do it in the Caribbean for a few days. Like, right. He did not have an easy time in between the almost car accidents and me getting in arguments with people who tell you how to park a car on a ferry.
Yeah. But Cody, do you think, and I'll say this into the mic, but do you think that how he handled things is the correct way to do it?
It works.
You say it works. Okay, well, listen. If it works, that's fine. So my goal is to get my shit and not ruin someone else's day. That's because I know what happens is I go in and I go, "Well, you fucked up. I'm going to ruin your day." And that's horrible.
Yeah.
Because then they ruin other people's day, and it is a ripple effect. There's no question. And I don't want to be, by the way,
You shot the butterfly.
It is like someone launched a boulder into the ocean sometimes with me. And so I understand that. So I don't want to ruin anyone's day. And I know that I can go from 0 to 60 in a sec. So teach me.
So here's what I will say. So I grew up going to the same truck stop on Sundays for breakfast and coffee with my family.
Okay.
And I watched my mother every single Sunday order sourdough toast with no butter. And then 80% of those Sundays, I watched one of a few waitresses who worked there bring her completely butter-covered toast. And then I watched her speak to them, not like you wouldn't go, "She's a bad person," but in a way where whoever she spoke to would be like, "I'm not a grown-up. I'm not a grown-up. I'm not a grown-up. Oh no, am I not a grown-up? I thought I was a grown-up." It's wild. And like she has that, and my sister Janine has that. They're like, if you need to solve something, like there's something wrong with your bank account and you got to talk to somebody over the phone, you want some Joanne Janining happening right there.
Okay.
Get some Janine in there. She's going to fuck. So, like, that's what I have. I'm very too, like, I want my coffee, and I don't want to mess your day up. I want my fucking coffee, and I'm going to be right about it. If you go, we're overstaffed, I'm going to go, he got this, that person got this lady got this, all while I've been waiting. I have the simplest drink. It takes this long to make. I looked it up online. I actually watched a YouTube video because I've been here for that long. And then I watched a YouTube video of how much her drink takes. This is the difference in those two times. Do you have my ticket and do you know what I ordered? Like, that's what I'm doing. I don't go to, like, you're a fucking idiot, but I think...
I mean, time out. If you typed everything you just said into AI and said, make this shorter, it would go, you're a fucking idiot. So please, whatever you're about, I mean, I watched a YouTube video because that's how long I've been here. I mean, that's code for you're the dumbest.
Yeah, but code's the important thing.
Okay, see, I didn't know that.
See, I think one of the...
I'm very blunt. I'm very...
That's the problem. Here's what I think has been lost in this whole Chad's changing, which, to be clear, I fucking hate.
Yeah, you've mentioned that.
I love old Chad.
Everybody loves old Chad, except
3 people.
Well, no, there's more than that. Yeah. It's everyone I meet in public,
Yeah.
and then people that share space with me a lot.
So I think the issue isn't that you get worked up and want to engage. I think the issue is that you could accomplish what you want to accomplish in the way you want to accomplish it if you found the ability to soften. Not soften like be softer. I mean, be like, this would be more like, I think you need to find a tact that doesn't go from 0 to the bluntest statement anyone's ever said, and find this nice little middle ground so I don't lose this guy who's on this fun journey that I'm watching from the back of the room.
Sure.
I've never thought that I think I'm a big social contract guy.
Okay.
And I believe that...
You know I am too.
I find it wild how many people aren't. I think when you enter the universe, there are just these things that inherently you can do or not do without consequences or acclaim that you should be doing. Yep. Like, great example, we all go to a concert in a parking lot, like an outdoor event, and there is no smoking sign, but we're all crowded shoulder to shoulder, and you're smoking a cigarette, right? And you get to do whatever you want in your free life, or your free time on your property or away from everybody. But the fact that you've decided that your freedom to smoke a cigarette in this situation exceeds everyone else's freedom to not want to be around cigarette smoke, I think you violated the social contract. And I know people are going to get worked up about that because of cigarettes, so flip it. Guy listening to music on the train without headphones.
Sure.
Any of these unending situations where people violate what I believe to be the social contract of all of us existing out in the universe. And it all comes down to respect other people's space. And then I also think the second part of that is do things that have a positive effect on everybody else. But I think if that's the way that you want to live, and then you see people who are violating the social contract, where if somebody did a smash cut of every Chad in public story you've ever... Because let's talk about that guy. Let's go back to that guy at the airport. That guy's the biggest fucking asshole on the fucking planet. Like, we can joke about it. You can say something funny. Yeah. That guy should be taken out in the street with a big crowd, with a fucking Jumbotron. Put him in an NFL stadium full of people. Play it on the Jumbotron, and then have a guy like an And One mixtape be like, all right. We got Jake here. You saw what he did. If you want to see him get hit with mallets and rocks and you think he deserves it, say yes. You're not going to get a no in the crowd. If this is Gladiator, if this is old school, like, that guy fucking sucks. Yeah. He's a fucking asshole. You fucking piece of shit. Everybody who's traveling on this plane is going through something.
Right.
Some people might be sick. Some people might be going to see their fucking dying grandma. Some people might be tired. They might be stressed. They might have the biggest presentation of their life coming. And you are adding undue extra negativity into a public space that you have all agreed to exist in together. You paid the same. We're in the same fucking class, man.
Can I say something? Are you talking about me or the guy with the jacket?
The guy. The guy with the jacket.
That's what I thought. And then just for a second, I was like, fuck, is this about me all of a sudden?
No, it's about the guy with the jacket. Okay. I just I don't wish violence, but somebody kick the shit out of that guy. Drag him off the plane and fucking punch him a few times, slap him while you're telling him what he did wrong. Like, I'm a pretty empathetic, and here's where it gets tough. Everybody is, I think so many people are a product of their experiences and the parenting they received, and you forget that, like, you would feel, there are a lot of people that if you saw the way they were raised, it would drive this deep empathy in you. But for some reason in this country, when people turn 18, our whole country, everybody who lives there goes, get your fucking shit together. I don't give a fuck. You're an adult, fucking get it together. Yeah. And so I'm kind of veering into that space, but I just don't have any patience for elitist level. If you're driving your $180,000 SUV and you didn't return your shopping cart and you're a 35-year-old guy, I want to break your windows. Like, so you've always been in the space when you get frustrated of mostly the social contract.
Well, here I used to tell Olivia and Isaac all the time, like, you know, Olivia came home.
So much of a rant.
No, it was great though. It was right. And I to your point, I used to say to Olivia, she'd come home and she goes, "Oh my God, this girl was so mean to me today." And I go, "Is that the girl that I heard about? Her parents are getting like a real fucking nasty divorce." Mm-hmm. She's like, "Yeah." And I go, "Some of these things you're gonna have to take. I mean, but also don't be mean back. Be like an ear and just go up to her and be like, I'm sorry you're going through that stuff. If you need to talk, whatever."
Yeah.
Because I think you're right. People are going through so much shit. I don't think that guy with the jacket should be beaten with mallets and stones. I thought it would have been great if the flight attendant would have taken his jacket, cut it into little squares and stacked them on top of each other. And when he was like, "What the fuck?" be like, "No wrinkles." I think that would have been fantastic. What I did at Starbucks is I did kind of what you said.
Okay.
So I go, okay, I'm just here to check. I'm going to go back here. And then I took one step and I went full fucking army turnaround again and walked back up and I go, actually, I'm not going to go back there. So people are getting blended drinks with several things added. And I go, all I'm looking for is ice and a little, and if you don't even want to put ice in it, just pour it on in there. Because I keep watching people bring the drinks here for people that got here after me, and then walking back to the blender. But my little cup of stuff is right there. So on the way, I just would like one of them to grab it. And she goes, "We can do that."
Yeah.
And she turned around and she put it in and she goes, "Do you or don't you want ice?" And I go, "I would love it if it's not inconvenient." Mm-hmm. And she put ice in it and she goes, "There you go. Thanks a lot." And I went, "Oh, is this how this works?"
Yeah.
And so I was wondering what you would do, because I have found that not going up there and being like, "The fucking blended drinks take longer, you dumb snatch." I mean, that is not helpful for anybody.
Yeah, yes, I certainly am not, as Cody can attest to from the last few days, I am probably not the guy to take advice from in this category, but I do think that there's nothing wrong when somebody, like, because I think they're two different situations. The coffee situation is so different from the plane situation. Right. But all those situations built to, like, in any situation where we're talking about a service, somebody who is working for an hourly wage, my patience is pretty limitless, and my communication is pretty, like, it's not that I'm not going to say what I want, but like the way that people treat.
Agreed.
The way people treat service people checking them out at Target, at grocery stores, it's fucking bananas. Those jobs are very difficult to do. So, like, I'm going to have a now if that person, I think where that line crosses is if you go up and you try to communicate in that way and somebody goes, it's not your turn, like they attack you. You're like, well, now all bets are off. Now we're just two people and you were mean to me. And now I'm also going to be like kind of a bitch about it. But I just think that's so different than guys on planes, guys, you know, just being assholes within the social contract construct that I think we should all live in.
Here's the three things that I'm trying to have happen simultaneously.
Mm-hmm.
I am trying to get my thing done.
Mm-hmm.
I am trying to not ruin someone's day. And I'm also trying to not sound like a spoiled bitch. I've been here longer, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I did some math, and I think if you hit 2 out of 3 every time, you're in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
667 batting average?
Yeah.
Come on with it.
Hey, if you guys like this, there will be a new episode next Monday and every single Monday at 8 a.m. So click the subscribe button so your phone sends it to you without having to do any work.